Good evening and welcome to the All Saints Church Quiz Night. We will be beginning with the questions in about 10 minutes time, so if you still need to grab yourself a cooling drink or some paper and pens to write down the answers with. Good evening and welcome to the All Saints Church Quiz Night. We will be beginning with the questions in about 10 minutes time. Sorry, I was hearing myself there. Yes, please do get pens and papers to write down the answers to the questions. We've got 6 rounds of 10 questions, and there is also a picture round, should you be able to access it. The link is in the description of the YouTube video, and I've posted it in the live chat as well. You don't need to be able to print it out. It's just 10 answers that you can write down, the same as any other round. The question masters tonight are going to be a mix of familiar faces from All Saints, specialists in their field, bringing questions to you. We are going to show you videos of those guys asking questions. I will show you 2 rounds of 10 questions, and then we will do the answers to those 2. Yeah, it's not started yet, Dan. I'm monitoring the live chat as it comes in. Doug's got his paper at the ready. So we're going to do 2 rounds, then answers, 2 rounds, then answers, and so on. There's not going to be a joker or anything like that. I'm out of sync, am I, Michelle? Okay. There's probably not a lot I can do about that too much. You're not going to have to look at me too much throughout the whole thing, you'll be very pleased to know. So, as we're waiting for other people to join, you might be able to see on the screen behind me, depending on what you're watching this on, the different rounds that we've got tonight. We have a round on sport, we have a round on food and drink, and then the answers to those 2. General knowledge and history, and then science and nature, and then finishing off with film and TV. Plus the tabletop picture round, which you need to access the link for. If that doesn't work, hey, it's not the end of the world. You might be able to do that in your own time. Just try not to watch the answers for that bit at the end. Feel free to update me on your scores as we go through, and we can compare how each other's doing. I was at one point entertaining the idea of doing a big leaderboard for the different teams and individuals, but I suspect that's not going to work too well. But if you want to share how you're doing, I can then share that with the audience at home so people can see what's going on. Amy says, nice bow tie. Yeah, it's a bit loose, but thank you very much. I'll see if I can tighten it up. So the first round of questions will begin at 10 past. I haven't got there's no joker to play on any of the rounds tonight, just because when the questions are set by different people, it's probably not fair to have a doubling up round. It's nice when it's all set by the same person for that. But if you want to reward yourself double points for a round, you go ahead. You know, that's all fine. So it'd be nice to hear a bit in the chat about how you guys are playing tonight. Are you playing with a team at home? Have you got a virtual Zoom team set up? Or is it everybody for themselves with their own pad and paper at home? Let's see if I can move that so I'm not in front of my own screen. Oh, thank you very much, Adam, for the comment on the jacket. I mean, that's where I try I don't know if you can see, that's where I tried to iron it earlier. From the inside, just to get the creases out. Not a good idea. And for Jay watching this upstairs, don't look at the iron just yet. I need to clean that up when it's cooled down a bit. So we'll be beginning the questions in about sort of 3 or 4 minutes time with the sports round. If you can access the picture round, now's a good time to be having a little look at that. The questions, they come pretty thick and fast during the videos. Each one is repeated, and then I will put them up on a visual slide at the end, hopefully, if all my interface works correctly. So I could even spoil the surprise about who's doing some of the rounds tonight. The sports round is brought to you by Dan Barnes. The food and drink round is brought to you by Jay Finch. The general knowledge round brought to you by Martin Poon. The history round by Dr. Mary Embleton. Science and nature, a combined effort by Eric and Sheila Dunford. And film and TV by Amy Burns. So I see we've got a few teams on Zoom. Very good, very good. I've frozen. Okay, I'll try and... I don't know whether that will have helped at all. Let me know if you can still see me moving or not. Oh, hello to you as well, Heidi. Just Paul and Diana on a team. I'm sure you're equal to the task. If anything does go drastically wrong with the feed, be useful if someone can drop me a message or a text or something just to let me know. Not anymore. I refreshed my screen. Okay. That might have been a problem at your end, Tamsin, then. Who knows? So just to reiterate, the picture round is available via the link in the YouTube description, and I will post it again in the live chat right now. I have to turn off my WhatsApp notifications because there's some discussion about the picture round in a group that I'm in. So that'll just keep going off. I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong, but you just type Adam. Right, okay, if everyone's at the ready, we're going to begin with our sports round. Hopefully this interface is going to work. I might get the first couple of rounds a bit dodgy and have to start and stop things, but hopefully it will all become clear. Right. Okay, bear with me a second. This will work. There we go.
Good evening, church family. No guesses for what round I've been selected to do. Here we go with the sports round. Who lost the 1970 World Cup final? That was, who lost the 1970 Football World Cup final? Question number 2. Which city hosted the 2019 Netball World Cup final? Which city hosted the 2019 Netball World Cup final? Question number 3. Which sport requires a ribbon, ball or hoop? Which sport requires a ribbon, ball or hoop? Question number 4. How many named fences are there at the Grand National? How many named fences are there at the Grand National? Question number 5. During the short course 100 metres breaststroke final, how many times did the winner have to turn? During the short course 100 metres breaststroke final, how many times did the winner have to turn? Question number 6. Which player became famous for reaching the 3rd round of the PDC World Championships? Which player became famous for reaching the 3rd round of the PDC World Championships? Question number 7. Which Formula 1 Grand Prix started the 2020 season? Which Formula 1 Grand Prix started the 2020 season? Question 8. When playing darts, if you had 50 left before you could check out, and it was the start of your throw, how many out options do you have? In darts, if you had 50 left, and it was the start of your throw, how many out options do you have? Question number 9. On what field of play would you most likely see William, Harry and Charles? On which field of play would you most likely see William, Harry and Charles? Question number 10. Jack Grealish famously captains which football team? Jack Grealish famously captains which football team? I hope you've enjoyed the sports round. Bye! Good evening, church family. No guesses for what round I've been selected to do.
Right, okay, so thank you for your comment about my bow tie, Wilson. I'm assuming that's come from your son, but yeah, thank you very much. So hopefully you can see the sports questions up on the screen, at the first half of the sports questions at least up on the screen now. If there's any you missed while the video was going, you can have a little chat with your team if you're in a team about that, or maybe make a little note to come back to it later. And I will bring up the second half as well. There we go. Lovely. So there we go. Anything you're missing, in the same way that I'm missing the question mark at the end of that final question, get it down quickly, because we're going to move on to the food and drink round in just a moment. If anyone needs the first 5 questions put back up, just say so quickly in the chat, and then I will put it back. I should say there is a time lag between what I say and it going out. So by the time you send me something, probably 30 seconds has gone by. So I would always wait a good amount of time if I've asked a question like that. Well, hopefully you're all still with us, and we're going to move on to our food and drink round, hosted by the lovely Jay.
Hi, I'm Jay and welcome to my food and drink round. Question 1. Vanilla is extracted from a member of which family of flowers? Question 1. Vanilla is extracted from a member of which family of flowers? Question 2. In 2014, the breakfast cereal Sugar Puffs changed its name to what? Question 2. In 2014, the breakfast cereal Sugar Puffs changed its name to what? Question 3. The Bedfordshire what is a pastry consisting of 2/3 savoury and the other third is sweet. Question 3. The Bedfordshire what is a pastry consisting of 2/3 savoury and the other third sweet. Question 4. You might see the letters VSOP on a bottle of cognac, but what do they stand for? Question 4. You might see the letters VSOP on a bottle of cognac, but what do they stand for? Question 5. Who hosted the first 10 series of MasterChef in the UK? Question 5. Who hosted the first 10 series of MasterChef in the UK? Question 6. Western Europe's first coffee shop is said to have opened in which modern day country in 1647? Question 6. Western Europe's first coffee shop is said to have opened in which modern day country in 1647? Question 7. What dish am I describing? A rich, sweet pastry made of layers of phyllo pastry filled with chopped nuts, sweetened and held together with syrup or honey. Question 7. What dish am I describing? A rich, sweet pastry made of layers of phyllo pastry filled with chopped nuts, sweetened and held together with syrup or honey. Question 8. How long does it take to grow a tea plant until it's ready to harvest? Question 8. How long does it take to grow a tea plant ready for it to be harvested? Question 9. Tiramisu, the popular Italian dessert, translate into English as what? Question 9. Tiramisu, the popular Italian dessert, translates into English into what? Question 10. The following are anagrams of two biscuits, but ignore how I've split each word up. Jumble each one up. Cursed tarmac, airbag lid. Question 10. The following are anagrams of two biscuits, but ignore how I've split each word up. Jumble each one up. Cursed tarmac, airbag lid.
Okay, so there's the first half of the food and drink questions. I'll give you a minute or two on that before I move on to the second half. If you are able to give a little comment in the chat about how you're getting on so far, that'd be good to see. Dan says he smashed the first round. Good. And there's the second half of the food questions. I'll give you a minute with those, and then we're going to go through the answers for the first 2 rounds. If you're already happy with your answers for those, maybe have a look at the picture round if you've got it accessible. Bit more time. Okie dokie. Do you need any questions showing again? If you do, just comment in the chat. Well, it looks like we're all in the same boat from the comments in the chat. Hopefully, even if you're struggling, there was 1 or 2 that you could get, or and some that you can have a guess at as well. Michelle's going to do some food and drink research with the Pims. Sounds like a smart idea. So maybe another 1 minute before we go to the first 2 rounds of answers. If people really still need more time, then do post a comment and we can slow it down. Okay, so pencils down on the first 2 rounds, I'm afraid now. We're going to have a look at the answers. So, there we go. So for the sport round, Italy were the team that lost the 1970 World Cup final. Liverpool hosted the Netball Cup final in 2019. Rhythmic gymnastics, maybe half a point for gymnastics. 16 named fences. 3 turns in the short course 100-metre breaststroke final. The player famous for reaching the PDC World Championship third round, Fallon Sherrock. The first Formula One Grand Prix of the 2020 season, Australia, Melbourne. How many outs if you have 50? 4, I'm reliably informed. Don't ask me to explain it. William, Harry and Charles, you'll see them on the polo field, most likely. And Jack Grealish captains Aston Villa. Should leave those there for just a moment, and then answers for the food and drink one coming up. If you miss any answers, just comment in the chat and we can restate them. So the food and drink answers are vanilla extracted from a member of which family of flowers? The orchid family. It comes from an orchid. Sugar Puffs changed its name to Honey Monster Puffs. The savoury sweet pastry, the Bedfordshire Clanger. VSOP. Very superior old pale. Okay, is that all these numbers coming through for sports answers repeating? I'll put them back up after the food and drink answers. Oh, okay, those are the scores that you've got. I get you, okay. Anyway, Lloyd Grossman hosted MasterChef. Western Europe's first coffee house was in Italy, in Venice. Baklava was the dish being described. And well done, Gilberts, with 7. Tea plant, 3 to 5 years. If you've got anything in that range, so if you said 4 years, that's fine. 3 years, 5 years. Anywhere in that range will get you the point. Tiramisu, pick me up or cheer me up, either one of those. Half a point each for the custard cream and Garibaldi anagrams of biscuits. Wow, Gilberts are definitely the family to beat at the moment, by the look of it. Right. Okay, so our next round is our general knowledge round, brought to us tonight by Martin.
Hello, and welcome to the general knowledge round of our All Saints Weekend Away quiz. Question 1. What is the nationality of Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk? What is the nationality of Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk? Question 2. Which capital city is first alphabetically? If you took all the capital cities in the world and arranged them in alphabetical order, which one would come first? Question 3. If I watch a 45-minute video at 1.5 times speed, how long does it take to play? If I watch a 45-minute video at 1.5 times speed, how long does it take to play? Question 4. Which band released the song My Girl in 1965, which was used as the soundtrack to the 1991 film of the same name? Which band released that song, My Girl? Question 5. This is, I'm sure you know, is Eevee. And Eevee is a Pokemon. And in the games of Pokemon, Eevee can evolve into one of 8 different Pokemon. Name any one of them. So question 5, name any Pokemon that Eevee can evolve into. As a hint, they all end with the letters E-O-N. Question 6. In musical notation, if you are looking at the stave for music written in alto clef, which note is represented by the top of the 5 lines? So looking at the alto clef, which note is represented by the top of the 5 lines? Question 7. Who wrote The Very Hungry Caterpillar? Who wrote The Very Hungry Caterpillar? Question 8. Another one about videos. I guess we're all watching YouTube now. But which YouTube channel has the most subscribers in the world as of May 2020? Which YouTube channel has the most subscribers? Question 9. Some of you might be aware of a pastime called geocaching, which is sort of like treasure hunting, looking for sort of treasure boxes hidden around the world. And there are a whole bunch in Marcham. But the question is, in Marcham, which road has the most geocaches hidden in it? Which road in Marcham has the most geocaches hidden in it? And question 10. In which decade was the retailer Argos founded? In which decade was the retailer Argos founded?
So here are the first half of the general knowledge questions again. In response to the Bedfordshire clamp question, Tamsin, I've only ever heard clanger, but if I gave it a quick Google and couldn't see much come up. But if you know something I don't, I'm not going to deprive you of a point. If we were playing for big cash prizes, we would be. I would not be so generous. Okay, those are the second half of the general knowledge questions. I'll leave those there for just a moment. And then we can move on to the history round in a minute. Right, okay, moving on to the history round then. There will of course be a little bit of time at the end to look at the history questions again and also fill in any general knowledge ones that you haven't done. But over to Mary for our history round.
So, here are the history quiz questions. Who was assassinated on the Ides of March? Who was assassinated on the Ides of March? Who was Henry VIII's last wife? Who was Henry VIII's final wife? What was Oliver Cromwell's title when he ruled a republic in this country between 1653 and 1658? What was Oliver Cromwell's title when he ruled a republic in this country between 1653 and 1658? The first successful vaccine was introduced by Edward Jenner in 1796. Which disease did it guard against? The first successful vaccine was introduced by Edward Jenner in 1796. Which disease did it guard against? What is the name of the Aryan people that ruled North Africa in the 5th and 6th centuries and sacked Rome in 455? What is the name of the Aryan people who ruled North Africa in the 5th and 6th centuries and who sacked Rome in 455? A speech by a pope sparked the beginning of the Crusades in 1095. What was the name of the pope? So, which pope sparked the beginning of the Crusades by a speech he made in 1095? Which American president was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth? Which American president was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth? What was the last European country to convert from paganism to Christianity in 1387? What was the last European country to convert from paganism to Christianity in 1387? Which 15th century Norfolk family left behind a large letter collection that tells us much about life at that time. So, what is the name of the 15th century Norfolk family whose letter collection is such a valuable resource? Who became President of South Africa in 1994? Who became President of South Africa in 1994?
Okay, thank you, Mary, for those questions. The first half of those are on the screen now. Right, there's the second half. And in a moment we will go through the answers to the general knowledge round and to the history round. Right, okay, in the interest of moving forward, here come the answers to the general knowledge round. So, Jack was an Englishman. The smell of his blood gave him away. Abu Dhabi, the first capital alphabetically of the United Arab Emirates. A 45-minute video watched at 1.5 times speed takes 30 minutes. The Temptations released My Girl, and the bit we're all waiting for, my pronunciation of the Pokemon that Eevee can evolve into. One mark if you got any of these. Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Espeon, Umbreon, Leafeon, Glaceon, and Sylveon. Top line of the alto clef is a G. Eric Carle wrote Very Hungry Caterpillar. T-Series is the most subscribed to YouTube channel with 140 million subscribers. It's India's largest music label and movie studio. Just by way of contrast, the All Saints Marcham YouTube channel has 91 subscribers, so we're lagging behind a bit, but you know, we can catch up. The road with the most geocaches in Marcham was Cow Lane. And in which decade was the retailer Argos founded? It was in the 1970s. So I'll bring up the answers now to the history. Julius Caesar was assassinated on the Ides of March. Catherine Parr, the final wife of Henry VIII, Lord Protector, Cromwell's title. Smallpox was that first vaccine. And the Aryan Christian Germanic people that sacked Rome, the Vandals. Urban II made the speech that sparked the beginning of the Crusades. Or if he was an urban pope, I don't know if it was more of a rap. I suggest probably not. The American president, Abraham Lincoln, was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. The last European country to convert to Christianity was Lithuania. The Pastons were the Norfolk letter collectors. And Nelson Mandela, the president of South Africa in 1994. So our next two rounds are Science and Nature and Film and TV, and we'll be beginning those in just a moment. Okay, so Science and Nature round. Starting now. Pencils at the ready for round 5, Science and Nature.
This round is on science and nature. Question 1. What is the largest living animal? What is the largest living animal? Question 2. Which flower of damp meadows is the county flower of Oxfordshire? Which flower of damp meadows is the county flower of Oxfordshire? Question 3. In which modern-day country was Marie Curie born? In which modern-day country was Marie Curie born? Question 4. Which planet is nearest the Sun? Which planet is nearest the Sun? Question 5. Whose manned rocket was due to be launched to the International Space Station with men on board for the first time this week? Whose manned rocket was due to be launched to the International Space Station with men on board for the first time this week? Question 6. Which non-native ladybird can often be found in All Saints' Church? Which non-native ladybird can often be found in All Saints' Church? Question 7. Which local butterfly has large eyes on its wings? Which local butterfly has large eyes on its wings? Question 8. What was the name of the first artificial satellite? What was the name of the first artificial satellite? Question 9. In which year was it launched? In which year was it launched? Question 10. Which bird is now our largest raptor, bird of prey? Which bird is now our largest raptor, bird of prey? Hint, one was seen in Oxfordshire this spring.
Okay, so the First half of the science and nature questions should be visible if you missed any during the video. And the second half there. Oh, it could be that the Gilberts are getting reined in a little bit by some of the others. Okay, so moving on to our final round of questions, our final round of 10 questions on film and TV, brought to us by Amy Burns.
TV and film round. In Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, how many of the dwarfs had beards? In Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, how many dwarfs had beards? Have all hosted which TV quiz show? I'll repeat that. Have all hosted which TV quiz show? Oh look, you can see me. Hi. The TV and film series The Mighty Ducks follows a team playing which sport? The TV and film series The Mighty Ducks follow a team playing which sport? Which TV show has this song in its titles? Which TV show has this song in its titles? Da 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 da. Meow 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 meow. Doop boop 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 boop. 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 Which two actors have played the character Obi-Wan Kenobi in what is now known as the Skywalker saga of Star Wars films? Which two actors have played the character Obi-Wan Kenobi in what is now known as the Skywalker saga of Star Wars films? The first episode of Downton Abbey is set the day after which historical event? The first episode of Downton Abbey is set a day after which historical event?
By the numbers of films produced annually, which country has the largest film industry? By the number of films produced annually, which country has the largest film industry? Many stage musicals made the transition to big screen, but which includes this song? Many stage musicals make the transition to the big screen, but which includes this song? Chiquitita, tell me what's wrong. Oh, me. I have never seen such sorrow. In your eyes, and the wedding is tomorrow. Of the 14 actors that have played Doctor Who in the TV series, this includes John Hurt. 2 share the same first name and 2 share the same surname. What are these shared names? Of the 14 actors that have played Doctor Who in the TV series, this includes John Hurt. 2 share the same first name and 2 share the same surname. But what are these shared names? Which actors' credits include the following films? GoldenEye, National Treasure, Lord of the Rings: A Fellowship of the Ring, The Martian and Troy. Which actors' credits include the following films? GoldenEye, National Treasure, Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring, The Martian and Troy.
Right, thank you, Amy, for that. The first half of those film and TV questions, if you missed them on the way through, are up on the screen. You're going to have to remember the song. You don't want me singing it to you. Yeah, you're definitely right, Tamsin. You just sort of sit back and watch it and forget you're supposed to be answering questions. So just in case you missed the second half, there they are. Okay, so in a minute we will go through the answers for the science and nature and film and TV. If during that time you would like some more time for your paper tabletop round, let me know as we go through those answers. If no one says they need a few minutes more to look at the last few bits on those 2 pages, we will go through the answers to that as well, after Science and Nature and Film and TV. So then, the answers to Science and Nature. The largest living animal, the blue whale, the largest animal, mammal, anything that's ever lived. The damp meadow flower, which is the county flower of Oxfordshire. The snake's head fritillary. Now we know, if you didn't know before. Marie Curie, born in Poland. Mercury, nearest the sun. Whose rocket was due to be launched? Elon Musk, SpaceX, either of those have a point. The non-native ladybird that's often found in our church is the harlequin ladybird. And it's the peacock butterfly with eyes on its wings. Sputnik was the first artificial satellite and launched in 1957. What is now our largest bird of prey is the white-tailed or sea eagle. I shall leave those there a moment. And now the answers for the TV and film round. So how many dwarves had beards? 6 of them. There was one that didn't. Dopey, I think it was. Those different hosts were all hosts of blockbusters in various different versions. The Mighty Ducks play ice hockey. The TV theme tune, beautifully sung, was The Great British Bake Off. And the pair of Obi-Wan Kenobis is, I don't know if I spelled McGregor right, but it's Sir Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor. Downton takes place just after the sinking of the Titanic. The biggest film industry by number of films is India. I've probably missed an M out of Mamma Mia as well. That is the musical big screen that features that song. The shared names by Doctor Who. There have been 2 Peters, Peter Davison and Peter Capaldi, and 2 Bakers, Tom Baker and Colin Baker. The actor with those film credits was Sean Bean. He was the baddie turncoat agent in Goldeneye, the baddie in National Treasure, the man warrior person in Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, sort of ground control guy in The Martian, and I think he's Odysseus in Troy. So I hope you've all had some fun with our quiz rounds tonight. Thought I'd better switch back to live video of myself just to get a bit more airtime for the jacket. No one's saying they need any more time for the picture round, so in a moment we will go through the answers for that. So each answer is in 2 parts. Basically there's half a point for each half, but the 2 do slam together. But if you've not slammed them together, it doesn't really matter. It's all good as long as you've got the 2 answers right, and the end of the first one gives you a clue to the start of the second. and vice versa. Are Paul and Diana needing a bit more time for the tabletop? No worries, no worries. We can give you a few more minutes on that one. Particularly if anyone hasn't noticed there's a second page to it. Now's the time to realise that. More time for the pictures. Okay, sure. So we'll give you some more time for the pictures. If you need me to shut up, you can mute me. It'll be obvious when we move on to that section. But Mary's team playing a blinder in Science and Nature, 9 out of 10. Excellent. Tesco delivery has arrived at the Davies house. So everyone around there, right? No, during one of the rounds I had someone ring at the doorbell delivering a package as well I had to run up and get to, so we're all dealing with it. So if we were to say answers for the tabletop round at, we can do it at 8:15. I'll just put up a holding slide, go get a drink, and you can come back for the answers then. Okay, so coming back with the answers for the picture round. Just if you're interested, I think from what I understand, the SpaceX launch is scheduled for 22 minutes past. So if at any point you need to pause this, drop out to watch that and come back, then that's fine. We're just going to be going through these answers. So shout out to my niece Isabel, who's apparently stayed up to watch the answers for this round. So I'm sure there'll be some of the ones on there that you recognise as well. And I was going to say, kids are proving to have better Bible knowledge than the adults. There we go. Is your children's TV knowledge better than theirs, though, Ian? That's the real question. So, the picture smash round. So, the first one, the names of the coaches and the king whose writing was on the wall. So that's Annie and Clara Belshazzar. So it's Belshazzar, and it's Annie and Clara Bell. I'll put these up at the end as well. The lead character in Something Special and the first sentence spoken by God in the Bible is, so it's Mr. Tumblets there be light. Mr. Tumblet there be light. You get how it works now. Okay. So the third one, cities, magical words, and in Luke's narrative of the birth of Jesus, Quirinius is governor of where? So it's Izzy Wizzy, let's get Syria. The yellow Teletubby and Moses' brother, who speaks better than him. So it's Laren. It's Lala, and it's Aaron. Okay. The dog from the Magic Roundabout, and the quote about neither Jew nor Gentile, slave nor free, is written in which book? It's Do-Galatians. Dougal, G-A-L, at the end, Galatians. Okay, number 6. You wanted to earn a badge from this children's TV classic, and Jesus cures this lady's fever in Matthew 8. Blue Peter's mother-in-law. It's my personal favourite. Number 7. The captain of the Black Pig, and the prophet Anna, who encountered Jesus, was from which tribe? Captain Pugwasher. It's the tribe of Asher, and it's Captain Pugwash. Okay. So there's like half a point for each half of the answer, and a point if you get both halves, obviously. Anyway, the home of international rescue, and the description of the place where Israelites would be saved from slavery in Egypt. Tracy Island of milk and honey, or Tracy Island flowing with milk and honey. Something in that area is what you're after. So number 9, the show including segments from Terrible Tudors, Gorgeous Georgians, etc., and the Beautiful Queen, who could have come to her position for such a time as this. Horrible Histerester. Horrible Histerester. It's Horrible Histories and it's Esther. So the young Lion King, and this man's donkey spoke Simbalum. Okay, I will throw those answers up on the screen. As Tamsin has highlighted in the chat, first of all, there's a service of Compline tonight. Don't forget, at 9 o'clock for those that want to be involved. The details will have been in the church notices that have gone out. And our Pentecost celebrations don't begin at 10 o'clock tomorrow, as usual. We're making it an early start because we're doing like a 2-part morning celebration with coffee in the middle. So we're starting at 9:30. So 9:30 start tomorrow. And we're going to be hearing from Jan, who was to be our speaker at the church weekend away. But we're still going to receive from him tomorrow in a slightly different way. So do join us for that. There are the answers for the picture smash up on the screen. So I hope you have. Hope you've enjoyed it. There's been some tough ones in there, but we're all in the same boat. And it's quite nice. It's quite nice not knowing who's come out on top or where we sit. So as long as you've had a good time, that's what's important. So we will hopefully see you tomorrow for our Pentecost celebration service. Okay.